That's my husband, Jeff.
It's your husband, Jeff? Okay, all right, get off me for just a second. Back of the head wound, he's wrapped up under there. How did this
I
occur?
don't know. I got him in my car.
Okay.
I'm so scared. I don't know what happened. I don't even know how he got it. It's my husband.
Yes, we've got
I don't even know how we got here, sir.
Right. I know, I promise.
So
No, it's
so
completely...
sad.
September 2nd, 2024. It was just another humid evening in Dix, Illinois. The sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving the small town bathed in the glow of streetlights and neon store signs. Dollar General on Main Street was still open, its automatic doors sliding back and forth as customers made their last-minute runs for milk, cigarettes, or cleaning supplies. To the passing eye, it was an ordinary night, but in that parking lot, something dark was brewing.
Who is this? Do we know?
Okay. Right over there, and I heard some people arguing.
Anybody know who this is?
That's my husband, Jeff.
It's your husband, Jeff? It's okay. All right, get off me for just a second. If anybody has one, that'd be great.
Imagine standing in that parking lot at 8 p.m. Cars come and go. A couple is arguing near their vehicle. Maybe you wouldn't think much of it. Couples fight all the time. Heated words, flailing arms, tears, curses. It's uncomfortable to witness, but rarely does anyone imagine it will escalate beyond harsh words. But on this night, something was different. The woman, 54-year-old Melissa Howes, looked furious. Her husband, 49-year-old Jeffrey Howes, tried to reason with her, his voice tinged with desperation and frustration. They'd been drinking, that much was obvious. Their words slurred and movements unsteady.
Okay, how were you guys in the store? What was the build up here? What was the lead up to this?
Well, I was with a friend from work. I don't know. I got it in my car.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
Well, too much, evidently.
Too much? And were you the only one in the vehicle at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you leave tonight? Were you the one that was at the Frosties?
No, I went to and I went
Okay, you went to Frosties and 618 Tap?
Yeah.
Okay, about how much did you have to drink at both of those?
Well, I don't know exactly.
But within minutes, anger turned to lethal intent in a way no one there could have predicted. Surveillance footage would later reveal the horrific reality. Melissa forcefully shoved Jeffrey to the ground, leaving him vulnerable and defenseless on the cold pavement. She walked away for a moment, her mind racing with toxic thoughts before getting into her car. Witnesses who saw what happened next say they will never forget it.
The dude standing in the door, he's hollering stop, I'll holler stop. And when she finally stopped, she was sitting up on it. She literally rolled over.
Okay.
She was laying flat.
So when you hear first, how is male position? Flat on his back?
Flat. Just like that.
Was there any blood that you had noticed at that point? Okay.
No, he noticed some bleeding until she went over it.
Okay. Okay.
She rolled up on him. I heard his right leg off.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's still hollering. He finally stopped. He was sitting up on his left leg.
Right.
So it already rolled him halfway over.
Okay.
He was under there.
Melissa reversed her vehicle, paused as if contemplating the consequences, and then accelerated forward. The tires screeched against the cracked asphalt as the car lurched toward Jeffrey, crushing him beneath its weight. The thud, the screams, the silence that followed, it all happened in seconds. And in that moment, the fate of 2 lives was sealed forever. First responders rushed to the scene after frantic 911 calls poured in. Deputies, paramedics, and even bystanders scrambled to jack the car off Jeffrey's lifeless body, desperately trying CPR as blood pooled beneath him. They hoped for a miracle, but by the time he arrived at SSM Health Good Samaritan Hospital in Mount Vernon, there was nothing left to save. The man who had been someone's son, brother, friend, and husband was pronounced dead.
Okay. All right, we're clear him. He's off.
The woman who ended his life stood handcuffed nearby, her eyes glassy with alcohol and adrenaline. People later asked why. What drives a person to kill someone they vowed to love and protect? Was it rage? Years of pent-up resentment? Or was it simply the reckless violence of someone intoxicated and out of control? Investigators quickly learned that this wasn't just a DUI death. It was an intentional murder, caught on video from a nearby apartment complex camera that captured every second of Melissa's actions. A deliberate shove, a cold, calculated turn of the ignition, and a final acceleration that took Jeffrey's life. For the people of Dix, this was more than a headline. This was a sobering reminder that domestic violence doesn't always happen behind closed doors. Sometimes it unfolds under flickering streetlights, right in front of unsuspecting strangers. Melissa Howes was charged initially with aggravated DUI involving death. But as detectives watched the footage again and again, their horror deepened. This wasn't an accident. This was an execution. On March 11, 2025, Melissa pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and aggravated DUI. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison to be served in full with no possibility of early release. Some say justice was served, others say no prison sentence can ever undo the trauma left behind. But one question remains: what really happened that night in the Dollar General parking lot? As we unravel the story of Jeffrey and Melissa Howes, the answers might disturb you, because behind every crime is a human story, twisted, tragic, and unforgettable. Before that fatal evening in September 2024, Jeffrey and Melissa Howes lived lives that, at least on the surface, seemed unremarkable. They were a middle-aged couple residing in Centralia, Illinois, a small town not far from Dix. Jeffrey, at 49, was known among his co-workers and friends as a quiet, dependable man. He worked long hours, often coming home exhausted, but still making time for a beer in front of the TV, or to call his grown children to check in on their lives. People who knew him described him as gentle, not the type to raise his voice in anger, let alone his hands. Melissa, on the other hand, carried a reputation that shifted depending on who you asked. Some saw her as a warm, talkative woman who enjoyed chatting with neighbors and sharing updates about her kids. But others noticed her darker side, the biting sarcasm, the sudden bursts of anger, and above all, her long-standing struggle with alcohol. She had been arrested before for driving under the influence. In small towns like Centralia and Dix, news spreads fast, and everyone knows each other's business. People would often whisper about her temper when she drank, about the way her demeanor could change within minutes. But no one ever imagined it would end like this.
Sure. Just right here, okay? You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been doing what you want to do so far.
I just met you. Let me see inside your mouth.
I haven't wanted to hurt anybody.
No, you've been very compliant with me, and I appreciate
And I
that.
don't have any record of ever wanting to hurt anybody.
Yeah, no, you've been very compliant with me, and I
Can I
appreciate
do your
it.
earrings, please?
Sure. I love my husband.
Yeah, I know. And
Friends close to them said the couple often argued in public, at bars and parking lots, and even at family gatherings. Their fights were usually about money, infidelity suspicions, and Melissa's drinking. Those who loved Jeffrey urged him to leave, but he stayed. Whether out of love, loyalty, fear, or the hope that she would change, no one really knew. Domestic disputes rarely end with sudden violence. Rather, they build slowly over days, months, and years of tension until one day something snaps. In the months leading up to Jeffrey's death, Melissa's drinking had reportedly escalated. She was seen often at local bars in Centralia, sometimes alone, sometimes with Jeffrey by her side. Bartenders recalled her slurred words, her angry outbursts, and the way Jeffrey would quietly settle the tab before ushering her out the door. It was like watching a looped video, the same scene playing out again and again, with no end in sight. It was just after 8 p.m. on September 2nd, 2024, when the 911 calls began flooding Jefferson County Dispatch. Each caller described the same haunting scene unfolding before their eyes in the Dollar General parking lot on Main Street, Dix, Illinois. Witnesses reported seeing a couple, a man and a woman, standing beside their dark-colored vehicle, locked in a heated argument. From across the lot, their words weren't clear, but their gestures said enough. The woman was visibly enraged, her arms flailing as she screamed at the man, who looked exhausted, defeated, and slumped in his posture. The vehicle slammed into him, the impact echoing across the otherwise quiet lot. The front wheels rolled over his chest, pinning him beneath the weight of the car. Witnesses described the sounds: the crunch of bone, the muffled groan from Jeffrey, and the hysterical screams that erupted from onlookers. Chaos erupted instantly. Multiple bystanders rushed toward the car, banging on the windows, yelling at Melissa to get out. Some tried to lift the vehicle off Jeffrey, but it was impossible. Within minutes, Jefferson County deputies and paramedics arrived.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? County unresponsive. Looks to be head bleeding. County 894, head bleeding and arms twisted up behind. All right, hang on. Let me try and find a jack. If anybody has one, that'd be great. This is the only one I got with me, but...
First responders immediately jacked the vehicle up off Jeffrey's crushed body, hoping desperately that he still had a pulse. At the hospital, doctors worked frantically to save Jeffrey's life, but his injuries were catastrophic. Blunt force trauma to the chest, fractured ribs, crushed lungs, and internal bleeding so severe that there was no chance of survival. At 9:04 p.m., less than an hour after he was struck, Jeffrey Howes was pronounced dead. Back at the scene, yellow tape cordoned off the area, fluttering gently in the night breeze. Police lights illuminated Melissa's car, now a silent monument to an act of rage that ended a life in seconds. For residents of Dix, this was the night their quiet town became the backdrop to a horrific murder, one that would haunt witnesses and devastate a family forever. As dawn broke over Dix the morning after the murder, detectives from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office gathered in their briefing room. Overnight, deputies had secured the crime scene, collected evidence, and obtained the critical surveillance footage from the apartment complex that overlooked the Dollar General parking lot. Now investigators began piecing together exactly what led to this brutal killing. Detectives reviewed the video again and again. Each replay revealed details they hadn't caught the first time. Melissa was immediately arrested at the scene and transported to the Jefferson County Jail. During her initial questioning, she reeked of alcohol, her words slurred and disjointed. At first, she denied remembering what happened. She claimed she blacked out after drinking too much. But as detectives pressed her, her story shifted. She began blaming Jeffrey, claiming he provoked her and made her angry. When asked why she didn't simply leave if she felt threatened, Melissa fell silent. Toxicology reports confirmed what deputies suspected. Melissa was intoxicated well beyond the legal limit. Blood tests revealed a BAC nearly twice the Illinois legal threshold. However, as the footage showed, this wasn't merely a DUI accident. Her intoxication was a factor, but it wasn't the reason for Jeffrey's death. The reason was simple. She wanted to hurt him, and in that moment, alcohol gave her the courage to do it.
Yeah, they will. Like I said, this is out of my hands now. I have to go off of state, okay? But
well, I know you want to be professional, but in the same token, I've got feelings.
Yes, no, I understand that, but
okay.
But we've got to.
My husband.
Yes, we've got to.
I don't even know how we got here, sir.
Right. No, and I understand that, but I do have to run off of their standards.
But my husband would have never. How did he? I don't even know how he got passed out. I mean, he had to have passed out at some point, right?
I'm still fuzzy on all of the circumstances.
My husband is not like that. He's a strong individual. Okay. Trust me, sir. I've been with.
By the time the case reached its plea stage, there was no doubt about what had happened. The only question that remained was whether Melissa would ever feel remorse for what she had done.
Alright. I thought he went inside the store and he was underneath my car. What the hell?
Now, if you want to verify with them, by all means, but I was watching them open it whenever I walked by the window.
Never in my life would I hurt anybody.
I understand. Accidents happen.
No. That's not it. I just don't even know how we got here.
He was living when we left the scene. That's the last that I knew.
Can
I wish I had more information for you, but
yeah,
they
can I
don't.
talk to somebody who's more upstate, please?
He's not even at this hospital, so these
I
guys
know.
don't even know who.
They put
By the time Melissa Howes appeared in Jefferson County Court for her first formal hearing, the case had already gained significant attention across Illinois. The chilling surveillance footage leaked in brief clips to local news stations, sparking outrage and disbelief among viewers. Many couldn't comprehend how a wife could run over her husband with such deliberate force, not once but twice, and show no visible signs of remorse afterward. The courtroom was tense on the day of her arraignment. Reporters gathered outside with cameras rolling as Melissa was led in, wearing a faded orange jail uniform, her wrists shackled and her hair unkempt. Her expression was empty, her eyes scanning the room with a detached stare that sent chills through onlookers. Friends and family members of Jeffrey filled the benches behind the prosecution table, some silently weeping, others glaring at Melissa with a pain only murder victims' families understand. The prosecution laid out their charges clearly: first-degree murder and aggravated DUI involving death. They described how Melissa intentionally shoved Jeffrey to the ground before running him over in the Dollar General parking lot. The state argued that while alcohol intoxication played a role, this was far beyond a drunk driving incident. This was an intentional, violent killing committed in full awareness of her actions. On March 11, 2025, Melissa stood before the judge and pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and aggravated DUI. As part of her plea agreement, she was sentenced to 20 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole. She will serve 100% of her sentence, ensuring she remains behind bars until she is in her 70s. In court that day, Melissa offered no apology. Her voice was flat and emotionless as she confirmed her guilty plea. Family members of Jeffrey addressed her directly in victim impact statements. His sister tearfully said, "You took away someone who still had so much life left to give. You didn't just kill him, you killed a piece of all of us." The judge, in delivering her sentence, spoke with stern clarity. This was not an accident. This was not merely a DUI death. This was an act of intentional, deadly violence, and this court will treat it as such. As Melissa was led away in shackles to begin her decades-long prison sentence, the courtroom fell silent. Outside, news crews reported her conviction, and across Illinois, people shook their heads in disbelief. It was yet another tragic reminder that sometimes the people closest to us, the ones who promise to love us forever, are the ones who can destroy us completely. After the courtroom doors closed and Melissa Howes was led away to begin her 20-year prison sentence, the small towns of Dix and Centralia were left to process the horror that had unfolded in their midst.